welcome to the This Is Metal Show. My name is Jason J. Rock Houston, and with me today is my co-host, Tom Collier. Tom is a musician, David in his own right. He's a principal songwriter and a guitar player for a New York-based hard rock band, Held Hostage, who the featured vocalist on their last two albums was none other than Tim Ripper Owens. So he's quite a musician in his own right. So I think you guys will connect that way. So how you doing today, David?
Hi.
Hi, we're talking
Hi.
about
Hi.
David Cabezas. Is that how you pronounce your name, David?
It's Cabezas.
Okay, and you're the lead singer and guitar player from Madzilla. Let me ask you, Madzilla, when I hear that, it kind of reminds me of Godzilla. Is it a take on that?
Yes, it is. It's we like to have things that are themed. Like we're like in the band, we're all fans of bands that have some kind of theme going on. You know, like for example, like you can see the flags in the back, like it's Iron Maiden. Like we like that because there's Eddie and there's all that theatrical element. You know, we like Lacuna Coil and bands like that have a little more than just music. You know what I mean?
Oh,
and
sure.
So our idea was to have our version of
that
and so as such we have our mascot, and our mascot is called Zilla. And what Zilla is he's a crazy version of Godzilla, as in like because Godzilla in a lot of his scenarios he's more kind of like a wild animal.
Yeah.
You know, that he's out there to feed, and like when he destroys a building or whatnot, it's like because he's looking for food and whatnot. Yeah. Our take is that Madzilla is actually out for blood. You know, he's crazy.
I love it. And you know, I gotta tell you, when you bring up you know, the marketing and you know the Eddie mascot for Iron Maiden, it takes me back to being a young lad myself and going in the record store. Yes, they used to have places, folks, where you could go and buy your music, but and seeing the Iron Maiden album, Number of a Beast, knowing nothing about the band at that time, except just picking it up and I don't know what the hell this is, man, but this looks so cool. I have to have it.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. Now you guys to me sound like kind of an old school metal band, yet with a modern sound. How would you describe the sound of Madzilla?
I think that was spot on. The thing is, what going back to what I said before, we have a wide variety of influences.
I can hear that.
And a lot of our influences are, you know, the big giants, like the big four, from thrash metal, and Iron Maiden, and you know, Judas Priest, and you know that. So all that classic metal.
Pioneer,
but we're also big fans of bands like Gojira and Mastodon.
Wow.
You know, like bands like that. And so like it's the influence of all that kind of like breeds the style that we play. So it's melodic, it's thrashy and whatnot, but it has a lot of like a little bit more modern elements.
It's everything. It's a mixed stew, right?
Yeah. It's a big melting pot.
So I'm going to throw it to my co-host Tom. I'm sure you have some questions for David.
Oh, absolutely, David. First of all, I see you guys have toured with some great bands. Saxon, I know those guys. Judas Priest, of course, I'm friends with those guys. You've been out with some great bands. You did a song, and I got to put my glasses on. Warfare Within.
Oh,
that was like a blues rock power ballad. That was so cool. I mean, it was so different than what I expected from you guys when I see your name, and that's what I love, is to be shocked. You know, I'm a president of a record label, so when I hear stuff like that, I go, "Wow, that really stuck out to me." What was the driving force behind that song?
Oh man, I am like, you just made my day. Because literally that's the way my brain functions. I always try to do things that are not I don't know how to describe this, but more like not what everyone else is doing. Like when I'm doing something, when I'm writing a riff or writing a vocal melody or whatnot, I'm always thinking like this already sounds to me like something other bands are doing.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and then it goes directly in the trash, you know. And so like it's just my brain just keeps going and going until I find something that it's like it sounds like me. Okay, there you go. You know, I like to have that element of surprise of you know, something that's unexpected. It you can all that's the one thing that you can always expect at a Madzilla concert and a Madzilla record and whatnot, that there'll be some kind of something unexpected.
Yeah, now let
So
me ask you, David, on that note, because would you say that like how long has the band been together? How many albums you put out? I asked because you say you found the Madzilla sound, and like when you do a song like that, it does stand out because it is so different. It's interesting Tom said that because that I had the same reaction to that song, except for when I heard it, I thought, okay, sounds so drastically different from everything else on the album. To me, though, it was almost like music that you would march into battle. Maybe it reminded me kind of music of Pending Doom, but it was definitely not as aggressive as other music, but that's what I loved about it. That's why it stood out to me.
yeah, yes, 100%. I agree. To answer all your questions. So first, the band has been together since 2018.
Okay.
So it's 5 years now.
Okay.
Like it'll be 5 years in September, I think. But the thing of it is that I so many of the bands I like are bands that have something that makes them, you know,
Popular.
a little bit different and a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
bit original. And I don't like bands that have a set list, for example, that is like the same all throughout.
Sure, sure.
I like it when it's a little bit more of a roller coaster. Yeah,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like there's highs and downs, and it's like
Sure.
you know, heavy and then melodic and then it I don't know, progressive or whatnot.
Because you want to be creative, you want to have your own sound. At the same time, you probably have managers and producers, people at the label working behind the scenes telling you, hey, you know, you gotta I don't know about this song, you gotta stay with the Madzilla sound. And you're like, you know what, it's a good song though. You know, but you know, your fans might not dig it, man. You better think about this. I dig a band like this that kind of goes with what they want.
Yeah. No, I mean but the thing of it is that the Madzilla sound is that.
Yeah, so
It's
true.
that
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
there's things that are unexpected, and there's things
yeah.
that are different from what you just heard.
And
You know what I
different
mean?
does not necessarily mean bad, right, Tom?
Well, absolutely. When I heard that, and
It
here's the other
can,
thing that
but
I heard like different influences in that. And even at the end, I felt like Randy Rhoads is one of my favorite guitar players, being a guitar player. At the end of that song, I could feel like Randy Rhoads in there almost. It was like almost like a Diary of a Madman feel. I loved it.
yeah,
So that's
definitely.
why that song stuck out to me. And like I say, as a record company president, I don't say that a lot to people, but that song was one that it just caught me. And that's what you really want. You want people to catch it. Your songs have to catch people. And that was such a great tune. It is a great song. I was like, wow.
Oh,
And
well,
it
thank you so
started
much.
off acoustically, and then all of a sudden it just built. And that's what a great song does. You start off with this foundation, you just build into something big. At the end of it, I could feel Randy Rhoads in there for some reason. I don't know if you even like Randy Rhoads, know who he is. Some people don't. The guy's like he's one of my favorite guitar players ever.
You can't
And
play metal and not know who Randy is.
perfect. All right. Because one time I talked to a guy and said, Randy Rhoads, like, he's like, who the hell's Randy Rhoads? I was like, okay, time to leave. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
You cannot
I
play
felt it
metal
at the
and
end.
not know Randy.
But you listen to the end of it and you can feel like almost like that Diary of a Madman vibe at the end of it.
Sure,
It's
sure.
so cool. You know?
Well, thank you. I'm really glad you like it.
Oh.
And to expand a little bit on that song in particular, I mean, the thing is, the whole album, A Deadly Threat, is written as like lyrically is written at a short story.
Okay.
And what the story talks about is it talks about like a power or power driven or power hungry entity or person that
Okay.
just wants to rule everything, right? And so with with that feeling, like this person just goes out there and destroys everything in through war and destruction and devastation and whatnot, like just eradicates everything.
Welcome to the current state of the world.
Yeah. It's my take on the present. But like, you know, with and just so that, you know, he can be in power, you know, and then he finds himself in power, like he actually achieves his goal, but he has created so much destruction that there's nothing to be ruled. So he finds himself in a world of nothing, and he's the king of nothing. And so the rest of the album is just describing what he feels once he realizes that, oh man, I messed up.
You know what I love about that, David? Telling your story, tell the story through your music. And then I think even after when we do this interview and we go back and listen to some of this music, even I'll have a different, or Tom have a different take on it, knowing that it's based on this story, you know? We didn't really know that before. And, you know, here's another thing. I really loved your song, Darkest Night. This is what I wrote. Heavy aggressive, 100% freight train metal sound. Love the vocals and the riffing.
All right. Hey, well, thanks. It's that one's one of my favorite songs to play. It's fun to play.
Yeah. And so, what came first? Is your story similar to a lot of people, where you start out learning how to play the guitar, maybe out of necessity, became the singer because you had the best voice of everybody in the band, or were you always a singer as well?
Oh man. Well, the thing is, I was a guitar player always, and I have been in many bands in the past, and the biggest problem I always had in every single band was getting along with the singer.
Oh, yeah.
Always. Like I don't know why. And I'm like, I'm
That's
a nice guy,
classic
man.
case, you know? Yeah.
But it's just, you know, too much drama, and like I like things to be peaceful. You know, and there not to be too much drama, or like and you know, like I've worked with so many like divas.
Oh, sure.
Needed so much, and it's like, no man, let's just play. It's all it is. We're doing music. It's all it is. It should be a happy feeling. You know what I mean? And so I always had problems with the lead singer. And so when I started this project because I could never find a band that I actually felt comfortable with, and that actually played the style that I feel like playing, you know, and that road music that told me something. And so I started writing music for me. And one day, a friend heard everything that I had, and he's the one that pushed me into like, dude, put a band together with this stuff because it's cool. And so I did, and then I recruited musicians and whatnot, and I was like, but I don't want to have a singer. You know what I mean? And that was the moment of like, okay, well, someone has to sing, so I'll do it.
Here's the next obvious question. Now, when you started singing, were you immediately comfortable with your vocal ability? The reason I ask is I talked to a lot of people about this over the years, and they tell me, you know, first I couldn't stand hearing my own voice, but I eventually, you adjust to it. I mean, what was your process with that?
I never really had a problem with what you're describing, like hearing my own voice or whatnot. The thing is, like, I never really considered the vocals to be important.
Okay.
You know, like for the longest time, I thought like, okay, well, it's just another instrument. It's just there to be there.
But you write more from a guitar player's perspective, maybe.
Yeah. But that's the thing. That's what has changed lately. That up to the previous album, Asphyxiating Cries, that's how I did it. It was just like, okay, I write riffs, I play riffs, and then I'll just sing whatever on top.
Wow.
And then, but the more I kept playing, and the more tours we've done, and like you guys mentioned earlier, that we've opened for so many like bigger acts and like bands that are
your heroes,
our heroes, exactly. And then when you go and see their performance, vocals are everything. You know, they're so important. Like vocals are so important. And that's when I started realizing, like, dude, like I can't just be the guy who sings. I actually have to be a singer.
So opening like for Judas Priest, you get a chance to meet the guys. Do they ever come up to you and tell you what they think of your guys' performance?
Well, no, the thing is with Judas Priest, we only did one show.
Okay, but hey, one show.
So we didn't get too much interaction with them.
Okay.
But it's like, for example, bands with like Saxon. With them, we did the whole tour in South America, so we got to hang out with them for like a lot of nights and whatnot, and we had many drinks with them. We shared many stories, and it's like, you know, seeing bands like that, and it just makes you realize like how important vocals are. And so like I've been taking vocal lessons for the past 2 years, you know, to
I'd imagine being the guy that writes the music, it's a lot easier maybe to write for your own voice as opposed to maybe if you had another singer in the band and you're still the guy writing everything. You maybe be more critical of the singer, like, hey, that's not the way I wrote the song. That's not how I hear it in my head.
yeah, that makes sense. I think I don't think I ever thought about that. It's just because I'm the guy who writes and I'm the guy who sings it.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, you do a great masterful job on this stuff. I mean, to me, you sound like a guy that's been singing all your life, and you reached this level of success. So I think you know what you're doing.
well, thanks. I mean, I have been playing guitar for the longest time, so that I think that also has a little bit to do with it because it has trained my ear.
Yeah.
You know, so then it was just adjusting my muscles to the vocal technique and whatnot. But
Yeah, because like I told you, my co-host Tom, he's a musician. He plays out often with his band Held Hostage, and he plays with some other great bands, doing shows with them. But anyways, he shared with me for a while. He had trouble keeping a lead singer, so he's like, I got the ability to sing, and I would do it because we had dates, and we couldn't find a singer in time. But he said, I'm so much more comfortable being back at the position where I can just get up on stage. I got a guy that can sing with stuff. He does a great job, and I can just do my thing on the guitar.
right, yeah, it's a it's a it's a process. And I mean, the thing is one of the most difficult parts for me is the coordination between doing the riff and singing a melody that is not necessarily following the riff exactly. You know what I mean? And that takes a lot of practice.
Sure. So David, is that your little music room there? I love all those guitars. Is that where the band gets together? And
Well, yes and no. This is our smaller studio. This is kind of like where we get together for small writing sessions where, you know, we have a couple ideas and like we'll polish some things here and there and whatnot. Or here we do string rehearsals here, so it's guitars and bass. We get together and like polish. Like, okay, we can't like this harmony section needs to be more perfect. Come on, you know. So that things like that we do here, and then we have the bigger studio where we actually rehearse because we rehearse. Here's the thing, like we've through touring and playing with other bands and seeing the, you know, the big masters do it, like we've learned that what you do on stage is important, it's really important, but also what you do around that is also very important. It's like how you get set up, like how quickly can you get set up, how quickly can you get off stage and pack your stuff, how you know what I mean, and how and also it's the the way we move on stage and how we present the show and everything, like everything is rehearsed. You know, we rehearse every single part of everything. Like we even rehearse getting on stage and building the drum kit and you know, all those things, so that when we actually go on tour and we're actually there, we can be as efficient as possible.
Yeah, when you do something like the tour with Saxon, you're probably on stage, what, like 20, 30 minutes, you know, opening the show. So you don't probably have a chance to get as theatrical as you'd like on stage. And where I imagine, being that it's based on a story, you tell the story more on the record. People can listen to that. Maybe when you start headlining, you can get into more of a theatrical show. But what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Whenever there's more money,
Oh yeah.
we'll start adding more theatrical elements and whatnot. But what we do right now is we have several banners that we
Sure.
put on stage that have our mascot
That's cool.
laid
Yeah.
out here and there, and so like we build those backstage before our set time, and when it's time to go on stage, we just bring the banners, and it's like there's one on each side and a big one behind
Yeah.
the drummer.
You know, and I love all your guitars. They're, like I said, cool looking guitars. Now, I'm a guy who just listens to music. I'm not a musician. I'm a fan. So, how important is it, like, when you're creating a record? Like, do you use the same guitar in every song, or does it really matter? Like, well, I think it'd be better to use this guitar for this particular song. Does that really matter at all?
It depends on what you're looking for, really, because some guitars give you different things. Like I mean, for example, there's the song that you guys were talking about earlier, "Warfare Within."
Yeah.
The clean sections. I used this. I'm a big fan of ESP.
Oh wow, yeah.
So this is really pretty. I call her Zoe.
Wow. Yeah.
But she doesn't do that well with heavier riffs.
Sure.
Like the clean sections sound beautiful, but should I use that for the heavier bits? It may need a little more. So I used different things. And this is a Flying V that I rescued. It was in horrible shape when I found, like, a friend of mine had it for forever, and
Beautiful.
It had lived in his closet for
Wow.
God knows how long, collecting dust. Everything was broken, nothing worked, and so I took it to my guitar tech, and I replaced basically everything. The only thing that's
Amazing.
left is
Wow, beautiful.
yeah, and so now that it has this Seymour Duncan distortion pickup.
Wow.
And so this guitar rips when with distortion it explodes.
Yeah.
The heavier parts of that song, Warfare Within, were recorded with this because it's more powerful.
Wow. That's amazing. So Tom, when you listen to some of this music, let me ask you, as a guitar player, what did you initially pick up on just listening to some of the songs?
Well, I enjoyed the riffs. I enjoyed the tone he had. And I was going to ask him, what do you use effects or using just straight amp? I'm more like the old school guy. I have a Strat. I have like 10 guitars, but my favorite one's an 86 Strat that I play, and a Marshall, 100 Marshall, and I have 4 Marshall cabs. I don't use pedals, but do you use pedals or effects?
No, it's I mean, on the record it's all it's direct to the amp. I have a PV 6505, and it's the distortion that's proprietary to the amp. I used for some of the lead parts. I don't do all the lead parts. I do some. The other guy does more. But for some of the lead parts, I do use a reverb and a delay.
Sure.
But that's about it.
And so, are you still with Do It Records? I think that's the label I seen you guys with. Is it?
No, Do It Records. We were with them for our previous record, Asphyxiating Christ. This current record that we just released is with Into Records.
Okay, good, nice. How long have you been with Chipster Publishing?
About a year.
They're great people,
man. Yeah. Did he come through the record label, or did you guys find him?
Yeah, no, it came through the record label. We love Chip.
Okay, so I was wondering I thought maybe that might have been because he's Judas Priest's publicist.
Yeah.
I've known Chipster for many years,
Yeah, he's amazing.
He's given me a lot of great interviews over years, and that's why I want to get these guys on when I seen you as working with them, because what's interesting about Chip is he works with everybody from Judas Priest, Albert Bouchard from Blue Oyster Cult, and then he works with a lot of great modern bands such as this one. We had that other girl from that band, Madhouse, I think.
Madhouse.
She was very impressive. And And so they work with a lot of great artists. So anytime they send me a press release, I check out the band and I'm like, hey, we never had a band like this, Tom, on the show. That's why we want to have you guys on.
All right. Yeah, I mean, we love Chip. One of the things that I like the most about him is how communicative he is. You know, like we email back and forth, and he's always letting us know what's going on and whatnot. And it's you know, working with someone like that it gives you peace of mind. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And that in this industry is hard to find.
And David, I'd almost imagine you'd have to have a lead guitar player for a band like this because it's got to be super hard. I could imagine if you were the only guitar player in the band, having to handle the lead vocals and remembering all the guitar parts.
Yeah. Yes. I do lead in some songs. But the thing is, like, it's not my thing. I don't see myself as a lead guitar player other than, you know, certain bits here and there.
Writing, yeah.
I can shred to a certain extent, you know what I mean? But the thing is, like, when you listen to bands like, good example, Megadeth.
Sure.
Megadeth is the best example probably. Like Dave Mustaine can shred.
Sure.
You know, that dude can solo. You know, but when you put him next to someone like Marty Friedman, it's just like the taste and the note choice, and you know what I mean? It's there's some guitar players that just have that ooze coming out of them.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason, Dave. I've been having this conversation with you about your. Did you start out simply as a guitar player, but became a vocalist? Because I've actually heard Dave Mustaine tell that story. People often wondered, you know, how did the lead guitar player for Metallica go into being a singer? And he's like, you know, when I formed Megadeth, I heard him tell the story. Initially, he wanted to have somebody else sing the songs, but then he said it got to a point where I was having all these other guys come in singing the songs I was writing. None of them could sing the songs the way I was hearing it in my head. That's why I asked you that. And
yeah.
And he's like, and he said, my manager just told me, Dave, I think you got a decent enough voice. You should just be the front man. It's your band, you know?
Yeah, right. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
But yes. And I mean, the thing is, like, I started out as a drummer.
Wow.
When I was, but this is like way back, like, you know, when I was in high school and whatnot. So that's the thing. Like, my brain is very rhythmic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, when I write and when I play, like the things that come natural to me are everything that are rhythm.
Wow.
Rhythm. You know what I mean? So that's why rhythm guitar works for me, and I write riffs. I can sit down for 4 hours and write 50 riffs, you know, just like, and it just comes out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then, but writing lead takes some, you know, takes some effort and some.
Wow.
Gotta focus. You know what I mean? So it's everyone has his qualities, you know, and the things that you do better and things that you do worse, and you know, leads are not my thing. That I can shred to a certain extent, but not.
I think even starting out as a drummer, that gives you a perspective that a lot of other guys might not have, and that you have a better understanding of what the other guys in the band do.
Yeah. And it's like, I get together with Luis, our drummer, all the time, and it's like writing with him is it just comes so natural because we speak the same language.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
musically, we speak the same because we speak rhythm.
Hey, Tom, why don't you tell Dave your story?
Well, I started off as a drummer,
Right.
and then I switched to guitar because I was bored on drums, became lead guitar, and then became lead singer. And I played.
Right.
That's why I was laughing and Jason was laughing too when you said you started off as a drummer. So sometimes I'll just sit down and play the drum. I got a drum set and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I still enjoy playing drums, but I never want to go back to drumming again. It was just fun for me. And it gave me that timing. So when I write songs, I write all the parts of the song. So when I record in my home studio, when our 4 albums come out, I'll do drums, vocals, bass guitar, rhythm guitar, lead guitar, and I send it off to everybody and say, put your own flavor into this. This is what I like. I give them the bass to the stuff because I write all the music for my
Alright.
band. Yeah, so that's why it's great to hear that I'm not the only person that started off like that.
Yeah. All
And
right.
we're laughing
That's
because
really
I
cool.
can't tell you how many times we've heard that during some of these shows we've done with many of the musicians that have come on these episodes. But it's interesting because a lot of famous musicians. I mean, I don't know if you realize guys like Steven Tyler from Aerosmith, Janie Lane from Warrant, the late great Janie Lane, Phil Collins even from Genesis. These are all guys that started out as drummers, and even
Drummers.
Phil Collins found out he could sing along the way, and he got to the point where he could no longer drum because he's been doing it for so many years. But luckily, he still got that golden voice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta start somewhere.
Yep.
And life takes you where it needs to take you, but
Yeah. Well,
but
David.
you always keep some of the things you've learned, like you were saying earlier, like it gave you that rhythm,
Yeah.
and it gave you tempo and whatnot, and then you apply that to your guitar skills, and
Sure.
just
Well, David, I can't believe it's time to wrap up the show, man. It just seemed like we're just getting started here. But it was great getting to know you, David. Let's definitely keep in touch. And next time you have something to promote, like a video or something, we'd love to have you come back. This probably be posted in about 2 weeks or so. I'll let you know once we have a date for it, and you're welcome to share. But thanks for coming on.
Yes, thank
I
you,
know.
brother. Thank you.
Thank you
Good
for
luck on your
having me.
tour. Good luck on your
Anytime.
tour.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much. I've had the greatest time. This has been super fun.
And real quick, what are the plans for a tour? Are you guys currently touring, or I understand it's coming up?
We're going to Costa Rica and El Salvador with Tarja, the former singer from Nightwish.
Oh, wow.
She has her current project, and we're
Nice.
going out with her in May. So like
Congrats
only a
on
few
that, my
weeks
friend.
away.
Okay.
Yeah, we're excited.
Yeah.
Take care, David. It was great getting to know you, Dave. We'll definitely have you back. Bye, my
All
friend.
right. Well, thank you so much.
Anytime.
Hey, Damien here. If you like today's show, please be sure to subscribe by clicking the link in the lower right-hand corner or on our page. Thanks for tuning in.